Now that's the kind of movie I want to watch when I go to a movie theater. What's up guys, this is Joe from Real Shift, and I am about to re-enter my happy place. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's time for me to go back to the theater. I've been waiting for this for months, regardless of the fact that there's not a lot of great movies out right now. I just miss the theater experience, and I talk a lot on the channel about how important that is to me. So yeah, we're gonna go in here, we're gonna see Wrath of Man, starring Jason Statham, and then afterwards we're gonna review it per usual. Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Pretty please, with sugar on top.
I'm going to do my best to not give spoilers for this movie, because I want people to go out to the theater and actually watch it. Wrath of Man is directed by Guy Ritchie, and it stars Jason Statham, Josh Hartnett, and Scott Eastwood. When I made the decision to go watch this movie, I was expecting a generic revenge thriller. Why? Because we seem to get them all the time from Hollywood now. Add that to the fact that I'm not the biggest Guy Ritchie fan, so I just went in with really low expectations. But very early on while watching it, I noticed that this movie was going to stand out amongst all other revenge movies.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's about time!
And I'm going to give props where props are due. Guy Ritchie's stylistic visual storytelling definitely helped this movie along. But it was actually more than that that intrigued me, because this movie felt like a throwback to a different time. It's grim for sure, it's violent as all hell. But what I found most refreshing, and especially early on, was how the characters spoke to each other. This isn't politically correct dialogue. That's not to say that it's necessarily inappropriate either, but to me this is how badass dudes in movies should talk. I really appreciated the fact that they weren't afraid to show men being men.
You son of a bitch.
Speaking of men being men, I feel like Jason Statham should be a bigger star than he actually is. Because in this movie, he goes all in on a character like I've probably never seen him do. His whole presence every time he's on screen is that of someone who is about to fuck shit up. And let me assure you, he definitely fucks shit up. I mean, as a revenge tale, he could have just phoned it in and gave us angry Jason Statham face. And don't get me wrong, angry Jason Statham face is there, but he does so much with a character that really isn't given much of an arc. In fact, I actually felt like Jason Statham elevated this character with his screen presence. As we come to know him throughout the course of the movie, he's not a good person, he's not even a real likable person, but we still root for him because of what he has to go through in order to extract his revenge.
That makes sense.
In fact, I'd venture to say that none of these characters are all that memorable outside of Jason Statham's character, which would normally be a negative, but in this particular case, I think it's okay, and I'll explain why. I think it's okay because there's a lot going on around these characters to keep you interested. I mean, compared to something like Without Remorse, which I watched last week, which pretty much bored me to tears in between all of the action, this movie does things to keep the narrative moving along and to keep you interested in characters that you don't necessarily need to know everything about. They do non-linear storytelling in this movie, which I know a lot of people don't like. But honestly, it's not just a gimmick. It feels necessary for the story that they're trying to tell. There's one event in the movie that is basically at the epicenter of everything that goes on, and basically everything else that's going on is branching off of this event. And because of the non-linear storytelling, we get to see prior to that event, we get to see after that event, we get to see different perspectives during that event. And each time we get these different perspectives, more and more details are revealed about the story and everyone's motivations. I think a slow reveal through non-linear storytelling was the best way to reveal the whole picture in this movie.
I like it a lot.
I already spoke briefly about Jason Statham's badassery and the brutality of this movie, and those two things are showcased on more than one occasion throughout this movie. One thing that should be mentioned is that yes, this is a revenge movie, but it's based in a world that revolves around armored trucks and the robbing of those armored trucks. So we get plenty of heist action as well as the prevention of heist action. There was a couple moments in this movie, in some of the shootouts, where it reminded me of the shootout in the street from Heat. Now, I'm not comparing this movie to Heat, so calm down. But these moments had me on the edge of my seat. They were very intense, much like they were in Heat.
She got a great ass!
No spoilers here, but this movie does have its twists and turns, which is also something that helps it stand out amongst other revenge movies. Jason Statham's character is not your typical hero in one of these movies. He's not what he seems at all. The people he is after aren't your typical villains that you would have in this type of movie. The motivations for these characters are slowly revealed throughout the movie at specific times, and that's what kind of pushes the narrative forward. Is this movie perfect? No, it's not. To be honest, I noticed some logic gaps that you could probably find in any movie, but they weren't enough to take me out of the movie or ruin the experience for me. When the credits eventually rolled, my first thought that came into my head was, now that's a badass movie.
Damn right, that's the only way I work, Cap.
And it wasn't just because I saw it in the theater, even though I do believe that helped, if that makes sense. I also have to mention the use of music in this, as well as the score that was created for it, were all very well done. Every time they used a piece of music, it enhanced that scene, and it fit the mood of the movie perfectly. When it comes right down to it, Wrath of Man is a standout revenge thriller, in my opinion. This is the most entertained I've been by a Guy Ritchie movie in a very, very long time. Maybe ever. It has a plot and characters that constantly keep you guessing throughout the course of the movie. I thought it featured some great dialogue as well as some badass action sequences. And quite honestly, I would watch this movie again. And to give it even further praise, I do intend to buy this on physical media someday. That's why I'm giving Wrath of Man the pleased Palpatine. Good. So have you seen Wrath of Man? If you haven't, you probably should. When you do, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Y'all be cool. Shut up.